Hello and welcome back to the channel. Brandon Davidson, owner of Davidson Audio. And today I'm just going to do a quick little video giving you a little bit of insight on who I am and what my business is all about. So let's go ahead and get right on into it. So a little bit about myself before we go diving into the business as a whole. So about me, I am currently active duty military. I have been for now 13 years. In that time period, I have learned a lot because my career field is a facilities electrician. So in the last 13 years, I've learned a lot about being an electrician for the facility as a whole. So that gave me a good knowledge on electrical principles, primarily AC. We do some DC, but it's primarily AC. So in the past 13 years, I've really dived deeply into that. And during that time, I've always had my passion for automotive. So over the past, I'd say 10, 11 years, I started diving more and more into automotive stuff, whether it was my cars or my trucks. And over time, I continued riding motorcycles. And with that, I modified everything I had from my car, truck, bike, whatever it was. And then I started seeing more and more and more on the pages, motorcycle audio. And it really caught my eye because I've always had a passion for audio. Take you back to my first car when I was in high school. Did a full system in that with a single sub. And at that time, I had no idea what I was doing. Absolutely zero idea. So I put a little system in that with help from my local audio shop. And then I joined the military, and throughout all the vehicles that I had, I put systems in them. Now I'm not going to tell you I did it the best way because I know I didn't. I was utilizing line out converters, which a lot of people do. There's nothing wrong with them to a point. I had okay systems. And then, like I said, fast forward to probably the last 5, 6 years, I started seeing more and more and more people putting systems on motorcycles. And for me, originally it was just like, oh, you replace the speakers, put a small amplifier in it, and you're good to go. And then that passion grew. And then I started realizing that it's not just, hey, let's put some speakers in the factory locations, utilizing factory amplifiers. It's, no, let's tear everything out, either put a new head unit interface to the factory head units, and do a complete one-off system. So that really started for me on my Victory Cross Country tour. And I'll see if I can't post a little bit of footage on that, maybe up here in the corner or something. But that entire bike I did myself. I did my install myself, but I leaned on a lot of people to help me with that. And those people were individuals like Eric Ebro, who does the amazing head units for those bikes. I purchased one of those from him. I leaned on him for a lot of advice on what to do with the Victories. I also, at that time, was talking with Geno, who owns Psychotic Industries. He helped me out with a lot of the Victory stuff. Actually, I bought a lot of the equipment from him. So before I sold that bike, it had a single Sound Digital 1200.4 Evo amplifier. I had a DSR-1, Skywalker head unit, and then in the front I had the original Hertz 6.5 SPL show speakers in there with the ferrite magnet, a set of ST25 horn tweeters in front of them. And then we had the Hertz 6x9s in the lids, the 3-ways. Love that system. It was the first system I had. Still very, very new to it. Didn't really know how to tune anything. So I was just kind of going with it and testing it out. And from that, I sold both of my Victories and bought the Indian Challenger. As soon as we found out they were being released, my good friend Bill Fisher and I went over to the Indian dealership, sat down, talked with the great folks over there at Indian Motorcycle Panama City. Randy sat down, and him and I both pre-ordered our bikes. And just put on record, Bill Fisher copied me. I ordered the White Smoke Dark Horse first, then he ordered his. All joking aside, we just went in there and we ordered our bikes, and even his dad went in there, Bill Fisher Sr., and purchased his. I think he bought the Limited in the ruby color. So from there, that's where I really started this business. Now that you have the background on myself, I started the business when I was in Panama City, Florida. And I officially started the business in 2020 when I created the LLC Davidson Audio. I named it that because I was going back and forth between some names, and I'm that kind of person where I take a lot of pride in my last name. And I just figured, you know, last name is Davidson, I really like audio, so I put the two of them together, created Davidson Audio. And now I do know I've had a few people that make the joke, or they're like, oh, Davidson, you know, it's kind of confusing. His last name's Davidson. I ride Indians, I work on Indians. People associate Davidson with Harley Davidson. To be honest with you, I don't really care. It's my last name, I take a lot of pride in it, so that's why it's Davidson Audio. So once I started Davidson Audio, and one of the big reasons why I started this business is because after talking to some customers and getting my feet wet and talking to some shops, I realized that not many shops want to mess with Indians. And the biggest reason I've come to understand is that, or because of that, is Indian hasn't had like a real set bike over a long period of time. Now the Chieftain has been around for a very long time, but Indian has changed up their styles every so many years. Like for example, the Challengers 2020 to current, which will be the 22s are rolling out. And then the Chieftain, you have the 19 and newer is the newest body style. And then you have 18 and earlier. And then even then they changed the body style a little bit. So unlike Harley, where, now don't quote me on the years, I know people are gonna be like, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. I really don't follow Harleys all that well. But for example, like a shop can go buy lids that fit, hypothetically like a 94, 2014. The lids are the same. Or they might have slight modifications where you can get those lids to work. And then from that to current. So for Harley market, it's been around so much longer that the parts fit such a broader span. So one dilemma that I had to, or one hurdle I had to come over was creating parts for these bikes. And for example, like I have parts that fit the Challenger, but don't cross over to the Chieftain. And then I have parts that fit the Challenger Dark Horses that don't fit, or any of the Challengers, that don't fit the Pursuits exactly. Even though they're almost identical bikes, I go about them a little differently. So that's one reason why I started the business. Another big reason is I saw a lot of people that were taking their bikes places and seeing the horror stories on social media. You would see them, or like bikes would post wiring rescue videos, like Carlos Ramirez, owner of MVS Audio, does quite a bit, and some other shops do. And they would pull this fairing off after these customers spend upwards of $2,000 to $3,000, and you open it up and it's a spaghetti mess. It's all over the place. And you sit there, I sat there and I'm like, I don't understand how a customer could pay for this. But the problem is honestly, there are some shops out there that just are about the sale. They get the bike in, they slap everything in there as quick as they can, they get it to sound what they think is good, and they send it out the door. And then the customer's left with a complete nightmare months down the road. So I wanted to start a business that was focused on quality and customer service to ensure that my customers were getting the absolute best quality and felt like they were getting the best deal for what they spent. So I take a lot of pride in the products that I create in my business and translate that to what the customer gets. I take the extra time on my harnesses, designing the kits, so that way my customers are getting what I feel is the best bang for their buck. Oh, since I've started this business, I have had a lot of people that have helped me and influences along the way. So I just wanted to take a second to share who those individuals were and how much they've helped me along this way. Now, this list by no means is every single person. These are just a handful of people that have helped me along the way that I wanted to share. And one of those people is Chris and Dirk, the owners of 309 Custom Audio. I'm sure anybody that has a Victory, and now they're getting a lot more focused into the Harleys, knows who they are. Great group of guys. I've spent a lot of time talking with them regarding business, coming up with some new ideas, and I've used them and their fabricators to produce a couple of my parts. Now, another person that I deal heavily with is Ramirez, the owner of MVS Audio. I'm sure anybody that dabbles in motorcycle audio knows who Carlos is. I've had many conversations with Carlos over the phone, over Messenger, not only helping me with some audio stuff, some technical questions that I have, but also he's really opened up to helping me with business stuff as a whole. So just another great person that I've dealt with, and I know many of you know who he is. Another big person that was important to me getting my feet off the ground is Geno Palala. He owns Psychotic Industries out in California. I first met him with the Victory bike, and since then, him and I have had a good working business relationship where we go back and forth on ideas and bike designs and stuff. He helps me, and I now help him with some of the Indian stuff. Another great guy if you're out on the West Coast looking for some good stuff. When I first got started and I was trying to get out there buying some help with different products and whatnot, Chris Lowe, the owner of Garage Bagger Stereo, he's in the Carolinas here on the East Coast. Great guy, great wealth of knowledge, really helped me get out there, try out some different equipment, and really helped me get my feet on the ground and moving forward with the business. I definitely can't forget to take a moment to talk about Eric Ebro, owner of Skywalker. He not only helped me with my original head unit on my Victory, but him and I do go back and forth on Messenger. We've talked a few times. Great guy, very, very knowledgeable on building bikes. And hopefully soon, him and I have talked, hopefully he's getting a Challenger. So I would love to help share some of my knowledge to him on that. But overall, great guy. He's definitely helped me just building some stuff and getting the business going. One person that I also got involved with at the beginning, about the same time as Chris Lowe, I'm pretty sure Chris Lowe helped me introduce myself to him, was Bill Gorby, owner of Ruthless. And as most of you know, I sell a lot of his audio lids. And I've worked with him to make some fine tweaks on these audio lids. That's one thing I really appreciate about Bill is when I've had an issue with any of these lids or I've had some recommendations, he doesn't push me off. He's like, all right, cool, how can we make these products better? Which is what I'm all about, is making my products better every revision that I have moving forward. So him and I just recently got done revising his lids. We're gonna do some test fitting on them, see how we like them and if we need to make any tweaks forward. And last but not least, one of the greatest things I've enjoyed about this business is getting my products out there and building a network. Through doing that, I met Ariel. He's the owner of Breezy Baggers. He used to be located in El Paso, Texas, and now moved to the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Don't know exactly what part, just don't really remember. But great guy. He has a Challenger. He does a lot of Harley audio, but he also does the Challengers as well. Great guy, very knowledgeable. I've gone to a lot of his events. Just down to earth, genuine guy. So if you're in that area looking for somebody to do an install, definitely suggest you reach out to him. He'll take care of you. He'll do the job right and get you back on the road enjoying your bike and your tunes. I kind of touched on it a little bit earlier, is hardships that I have come across throughout starting this business. And number one is just the hurdles of creating a business, especially when I'm full-time career in the military and I'm so passionate about this and doing it on the side after work each night and fully on the weekends. Just the hurdle of starting a small business. If you've ever tried to start a small business, you know for a fact getting over certain hurdles like doing the financing, invoicing, taxes, like all this stuff, if you don't stay up on it, becomes an absolute nightmare by the end of the year. So throughout the way, I've found people that help me with certain things. I've leaned on a lot of my mentors to help me with this. That's just one of the biggest hurdles I've faced with this business, is just one, starting the business and knowing how to run the business properly. By no means am I perfect with how I run my business. There's a lot of things that I want to fix and adjust. And hopefully down the road, when I get a few more employees, I can get the business moving more smoothly. And one thing I wanted to apologize to my customers is sometimes it takes me longer than expected, or it takes me longer to respond to you guys, which that is my fault and I'm trying to work on that. But right now I'm a one-man show. I'm literally doing everything. I'm making the harnesses, I'm getting these kits, I'm invoicing, I'm talking to the customers. So I apologize for that inconvenience, and I just ask that you be patient with me as I work through that to better my company and better my service to you all. Another major hurdle that I've faced is Indian motorcycle platform as a whole. This is really the first time that I've done it in the car industry, like with my trucks, the newer Fords you got to integrate in, but they've been out so long that companies like PAC, Maestro, and other ones have such easy interfaces that literally go in there. It's simple, T-harnesses and all. This is the first time that I dove into both of my shop bikes over here with the ride commands. Even the 19 and the 20, the 19 Chieftain and the 20 Challenger have the same ride command, but slightly different interfaces. And trying to integrate into those was my first challenge. And then the second one was creating all the products for them, because the bikes are just, they are a few years old now, but they're still very, very new, where businesses look at them, they're like, I don't know if I want to invest in these, because they don't know how long until Indian changes it up again. So I've really taken the time to dedicate, like, this is all I do. I just focus on Indians. I don't dabble in Harleys. I leave that to the other people. So that being said, I'm continuously developing. You'll see my products out. And since then, like my amp plates, I've changed them twice. My fairing harnesses, I've changed them 3 or 4 times. I'm sure we'll change them again. So it's a constant evolution of my products and my business, but I'm here to tell you that we're focusing on these Indians. We're not gonna stop. We're gonna continue innovating and making the absolute best products that we can. Now I want to take the opportunity to focus on the future of Davidson Audio. So I want to touch on my 6-month plan for the business, and then I'm going to give you even broader span to a 5-year plan. So for the next 6 months, where I see the business is, I'm going to be relocating from Tucson, Arizona, back to the East Coast to Panama City, Florida, which will put me not only in the location where I was for 5 years, and have built a good relationship and rapport with the area and the Indian dealership there. I touched on it earlier, Indian Motorcycle of Panama City Beach. Great crew there. Look forward to hopefully working more and more with them in the future. But also putting me back on the East Coast, where we all know motorcycle audio is pretty much the biggest in the Southeast. And then Panama City Beach, we have a motorcycle rally called Thunder Beach twice a year, the spring and fall rally. So we'll be getting the business out there. So in the future, if you're like, hey, we're coming down to Thunder Beach, get a hold of us, we'll schedule an appointment, we'll do an install while you're there. Also, one big thing that I'm really trying to get spun up or get caught back up with, and I want done, is having my audio packages boxed up, ready to ship to you all. My big goal there is to have, whether it's the speaker wire harnesses for the fairing saddlebags, the power ground kits, the fairing harnesses, or just an overall package as a whole boxed up on the shelf ready to go. I want to have that to where if any of my customers call, currently right now I'm about 2 weeks from time of purchase to deliver or till shipping. I want to get to the point where you call me and we could potentially do same day shipping on a complete package. That's my goal in the next 6 months for this business, is to have our products more readily available so that way you all can purchase them and get them on your bike and get out riding again. My last goal for the next 6 months is I really want to focus on the 2018 and previous Indian Chieftain and Roadmasters. I have people reach out all the time and they're like, do you do the 18 and older Chieftains or Roadmasters? I'm like, not yet. Some of my products do transition over from the Chieftain to those, but I'm not gonna sit here and say, yeah, it works on these unless I physically had the bike in, done the install, done some more R&D on the bikes to finalize that product. That's just not how I operate. So that being said, if anybody in the Arizona area or even back home, Panama City, has an 18 or older Chieftain or Roadmaster, please let me know. I would love to give you a very good price on a package so we can do some more R&D on it and get that package out there available to you all. Lastly, we're going to take an opportunity to talk about my 5-year vision for the business. One of the biggest plans I have for the business the next 5 years is to purchase my own facility for the business. The current plan is when I move back to Panama City, I have some friends that have large businesses have extra space, so we're gonna get into their building, get the commercial spot started, get the business rolling, until I can personally afford a much larger property for myself and the business to grow. And then from there, I really want to focus on hiring quality employees that share my passion with the Indian motorcycles. I want to bring at least 5 more people in over the next 5 years to help me not only get these packages out to you all, but help with product development, new products. And this leads to my next plan, is being able to fully build these Indian bikes. I want to get to the point where any of you all can hit or get a hold of me and be like, hey, I just bought a Challenger or a Chieftain. I want to do a big wheel or a fat tire, full audio system, air ride, custom paint. Like, I want to be able to do that fully in-house, minus the paint that'll take a while, or powder coat. But being able to fully build these Indians is a huge goal of mine and a passion. Like, I want to build these Indians to meet y'all's want and need for these bikes and exceed them. And one of my last goals for the next 5 years is I want to start developing audio packages for the non-fairing bikes. And what I mean by that is I want to start developing packages for the Chief, maybe even the Scout if there's a small market for it, and then even the non-fairing, I don't know, I'm drawing a blank on it, the non-fairing Chief. Yeah, y'all know what I'm talking about. We'll put a picture of it up here somewhere. But yeah, I just really want to develop products for those bikes that are simple to put on for the customer, for those people that don't want the fairing but they would like some audio as well. Get some products out there to meet that market as well. With that being said, I'm done rambling. I hope you all enjoyed this video, and I hope it gives you a little bit more insight as to what I do in this business, about myself. And I hope it just gives you some insight of who I am and how I operate this business. So I ask for a big favor that you all drop some comments down below on if you have more questions about myself or what the business is. Give us some more questions and content. We can do a follow-up video on this, maybe an update video, or if there's enough questions, we can do another video about who I am and about my business. And lastly, please do not forget, we have 2 current giveaways going on. The first one is at 500 subscribers. We're gonna be giving away an Eagle headlight of your choice to you. And at 1,000 subscribers, we are giving away a G14 LS lithium battery from Braille combo. So it'll be the battery and the charger, what I currently have in my Challenger, and we'll be putting in the Chieftain. We're doing those 2 giveaways. So if you can please do me a favor, hit that like button, the subscribe button, which is probably over here somewhere, and that bell so you're notified when our next video is. That being said, I'm Brandon Davidson, owner of Davidson Audio, and we're out.